You are now listening to the Friends of Rugby podcast. Relax your anus. Balls. Thick thighs. Camille Shat. Where's his neck? Eddie Jones. You're fucked, mate. We're nice now.
3, 2, 1. Hello, friends. You are listening to the Friends of Rugby.
Welcome.
And we will be reviewing today the movie Revenge of the Sith. I mean, Revenge of the South. Fuck, I screwed that up.
No, you said that's good. I thought it was better.
It's the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Same thing.
How you doing, Frank? How you feeling?
I don't know, like in terms of rugby?
In terms of, I don't care about your personal life.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm glad that we waited a little to talk about it because yesterday
You were just too full of emotion.
I wasn't even. My thoughts were not clear.
You were numb.
My thoughts. It was a lot of jumbled mess up there.
Rugby numb.
Now I know what I want to say. I don't know how I feel. Yeah. I don't know. Like I flat. Yeah, flat.
It's like I can't enjoy life anymore.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's a mild form of depression, I think. Yeah.
I worked with this guy. He did a tour he did a couple tours or something like that in Afghanistan.
It's the same as when Wales lose rugby. Yeah, it's exactly the same.
We were talking about stuff, and we'd eat lunch together, and like we're in construction. We build homes, so we'd be eating in this dirty basement.
Yeah.
So we're eating our sandwiches in this dirty basement, there's dirt around us, and we're talking about skydiving. He's like, I think maybe that's what I should try. And I'm like, oh, why, man? He's like, I just haven't felt alive since Afghanistan. I was like, holy shit.
Jesus,
like, that's
horrible.
Is that how you feel?
No, I'm not going to compare myself to someone with PTSD. It's close. No. Yeah, I don't know. I genuinely, I care less about Welsh rugby, and I never thought that would happen. Genuinely, it's hard to give a shit now. You know. And
so you are like my buddy.
No, because I care about my life. Like I've got other things besides rugby going on.
He was life too. He was just, he needs some excitement.
Yeah,
in his life.
I've got some other things going on that I'm pretty pleased with.
He left the army because he was bored. He said so.
Oh, okay.
Was it because he was like traumatized?
Oh, I see. I thought. Oh, okay.
Because he was like getting shot at and he's shooting at things, and and now he's like just building houses. Everything's super normal.
Right. Yeah. People do say that, don't they, when they come out of the army? That just life is never
thrill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can't relate. This is very different, but subtly similar. You know, we'll talk about the game when we get to the game. We'll talk about it. But all I've got to say for now is.
So where do you want to start then?
Let's start. Let's start at the start. Let's start with New Zealand and Ireland.
Okay.
Ireland and New Zealand.
So can you explain to me what happened?
Oh, this should be good.
Because I know you like.
That's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Because I know when we were text messaging, like they just suck.
Well, no, you said that. I thought first of all, that game didn't start until about 35 minutes in, did it? It was just raining and everyone was dropping the ball.
Yes, the hype was killed for some reason. Like,
well, it's the knock-ons.
Very, very early on.
Yeah, it was just there was a lack of fluidity you expect from those two teams. There was a lot of expectation about this game. This was supposed to be like the biggest game of the weekend, right?
Yes. I was waiting months for this.
Yeah, totally. This was supposed to be the biggest game of the weekend. It was probably the most unentertaining game of the weekend, actually, because even Argentina-Italy, which was hammering, the rugby on display was more exciting, I thought, which is surprising because both of those teams usually provide the best entertainment of any given weekend of rugby, right? They kind of cancel each other out, but the first 30 minutes was just shit. Like they just dropping the ball all over the place. Both teams were just sloppy. I don't think it started until the yellow card, which forced New Zealand to wake up, and Ireland took advantage of it really well. They got a penalty, then a try shortly after half-time. Then the game started for me, really. But then you were saying, and this is what we were bickering about, you were saying Ireland didn't lose.
That's not what I said.
You know,
That's what you said.
This is your exact words. Ireland don't lose games of rugby.
That's not
other teams...
You're not going to win a game when you give up 18 points.
No.
When you hand New Zealand 18 points, maybe England, maybe anyone else.
Yeah.
But you hand over New Zealand 18 points.
Yeah.
you're not going to win a game.
No.
You're not going to win that game.
No, they were sloppy.
Especially when you're like when you're handing over 18 points to the most offensive, resourceful nation like ever.
Yeah.
You're not going to win a game.
Nope.
And it was like
No.
just ton of unforced errors.
Yeah.
And
Well-
it wasn't like it's weird because it's like they're just doing stupid, lazy shit out of laziness.
Wow. You think they were lazy?
I said, remember last weekend I had a bad feeling. I was having bad juju about this game.
Yeah.
I was like I felt like it was just there was something. I had this feeling. I had a feeling like I was like I think there's like a lot of like tired.
Yeah. You were tired.
No, I think Ireland were a bit tired.
Yeah, there was a bit of a tired vibe going on.
They looked
Yeah.
like tired
They did a bit.
and just bad decision making. What do you think about Jack Crowley?
Wasn't as bad. He wasn't bad. Wasn't his
He
best
wasn't
game.
bad, but
Wasn't his
he
best
does
game.
make some really bad decisions.
Recently.
And I think that has to do with
The last two games.
a lot has to do with experience.
Yeah, he's young still. Yeah, he has shouldered a burden for a man of his age insanely well. So it's almost like when he's not as good as he has been, people are shocked and surprised. And it's like, yeah, he's not the complete package yet. He's just performed above his ability or his expectation
I
very
think
well.
it's because he tries things like
Yeah.
Johnny Sexton never tried anything.
No, because Joe Schmidt would beat him with a stick. Back in your cage, Johnny.
So like you'll see Crowley just make wild passes
Yeah.
to try to create something.
Yeah.
Like Johnny Sexton would never do that.
No.
If it wasn't 100% sure, he wasn't
Yeah.
making.
If he hadn't drilled it 46 times the week before, he wasn't doing it.
Yeah, he wasn't going to take
Yeah.
any risks.
That was the thing I was going to say about this game. This game, Ireland needed Johnny Sexton for this game, actually. They needed structure, composure, and for their standards to be raised by a captain who's screaming at them, like, don't you dare fucking drop a ball, right?
Yeah.
And they didn't have that. It felt like Ireland looked a bit leaderless for the first time in a while.
They were even mentioning that in the commentary. So at the beginning of the game, during the lineouts, New Zealand were basically cutting off the gap in the lineouts.
Yeah.
They were basically in the middle.
Yeah.
Where they shouldn't be, and even the commentators are picking up on that, and they're like, they need their captain to say something.
Yeah, they do,
need-
yeah.
That team needs to say something about this
Yeah.
because they keep getting away with it.
Yeah.
And they did it like 2 or 3 times in a row,
Yeah.
but it was stuff like that. You could see Kalen Doris, maybe just a little.
He's too focused on playing rather than being the captain, I think.
Yeah, I wondered now in hindsight, like if like Peter Romani was on that pitch.
To bring a bit of maturity and
Early on, while they still had
leadership.
energy,
Yeah.
and then
Well, no, he came on late though, didn't he?
he did.
Yeah.
Well, he's only played 1 game of rugby.
Yeah.
So, so I wonder if that would have been probably the best bet. Well, I don't know his fitness level,
Yeah.
so I don't know. Like he may have been on the bench just because, like he's only played 1 game, and
He's not someone I'd be worried about bringing into a squad, even if he had a lack of game time. He's Peter O'Mahony. Like he's got a lot of fucking international caps,
100%.
and a lot of Lions caps.
But the body wise,
yeah, totally.
so he's only played like 1 game of rugby since the summer tour.
Yeah, these guys will play if their leg is hanging off.
Yeah,
right. It's
that's
up to the physios and the coaches to put them in or
Yeah.
not. These guys will fucking play. They want to play so badly, right?
I'm just thinking like if he was on earlier to set the tone for them,
Yeah.
then he could have went off.
But what you're saying might be right. Like, is he too old and injured and beat up to be that guy anymore? Because I'm sure he has the ability to do the yelling, but is his body in the right place to be on the field for a full 80? Maybe not.
And I'm not gonna say Kalen Doris is a bad captain. He's just the experience.
I would. Bad is a strong word, but he's not what they need as a captain.
He needs to grow.
He's
like,
not a captain.
And they kind of took that from James Ryan a little bit, because James Ryan was growing into that captain's, but he's kind of
Well, he had some injuries and he had some blips in form.
Yep.
And to be the Ireland captain, you have to be both a leader and an exceptional rugby player. Yeah, captain or any country, right? But I don't think they found someone who's as vocal as O'Mahony or Sexton, who's playing at the highest level to replace them. So it was obvious they needed a leader. But what I was going to talk about is, like, we were kind of talking about who won the game, who lost the game. I hate this narrative that a team, you forget the other team's performance because you're so focused on how badly your team played, right? Like, we lost that game. Like, I thought New Zealand played really well, actually.
I thought they played all right. Like
Yeah.
I thought they were playing like there wasn't really like who was their standout guy.
That's the point I was going to make.
They
None of them had a
blended-
bad day.
They had kind of had this blended. I thought both teams were there wasn't very much between the two teams in this game.
That's what I'm saying. It was a close
and
game.
the fact that they were kind of playing similarly,
Yeah.
it kind of made it boring.
They cancel each other out. Both of them have excellent defenses. But going back to who played well, I can't think of an All Blacks player who played badly. I can think of 3 All Ireland players who played badly, right? If every guy on your team is playing well, you win a game of rugby, right? That's what New Zealand did. Ian Henderson had a bit of a crap game. Kieran Frawley was uncharacteristically sloppy. Like, he's usually very confident. He looked nervous, and it showed because
He did look nervous.
he had a couple
which
of
I was shocked
uncharacteristic
about.
errors.
I don't kind of blame. I was kind of like, I was like, why are you taking Crowley off? Like,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like, because like when Crowley,
Sorry,
when-
Kieran Frawley.
when Frawley came on for Crowley
Yeah.
in this game in South Africa, the difference was Crowley was still on the pitch,
Yeah.
right? He was still there,
Yeah.
directing, like, so it wasn't all. So he kind of like Farrell, when he put Frawley on, he put kind of all that pressure on
Yeah.
Frawley to direct that offense.
Yeah.
And I think that might have been a bit too much.
Yeah.
But again, you made a good point. Like, Frawley's been in some big games.
He has. That
Right.
drop kick against South Africa, he's shown that he's got nerves of steel.
But
They
at
just
the-
went missing today.
Yeah, but
on
at the
that
same
day.
time, like, he wasn't the steward there. Like, Jack
No.
Crowley was still there.
And I think that's it. These young guys, Jack Crowley, Kieran Frawley, we've seen their ability to perform at high standards. But is it that when they're exposed because there's a lack of leadership in the forward pack, they don't have the platform they used to? Because let's be real, right? If you're playing for Leinster, you have an insanely competent pack. So if you're playing 10 or 15 or a playmaker position in those teams, you're never under that much pressure. It makes you look better than you are. These guys are very good rugby players. I'm not saying they're not. But when they lose that platform, they lose that space and time on the ball, it makes them look not as good as we're used to. And that's because they're young. They're inexperienced. They'll get better. But New Zealand put that pressure on them, right?
Yeah, that's what happened. That was a big difference in this game, too. The Ireland forward pack started to dissolve.
They did a bit, yeah.
They started to fatigue, and New Zealand's forward pack kept getting stronger.
And that's the thing. I think every New Zealand forward had a good game. There were some exceptional Irish performances in the back row. Van der Fleer had a very good game. I thought Doris had a good game. He just, his leadership was a bit lacking.
I forgot that Byrne was on the field.
But he had he had a very important steal though. Like, he ripped the ball characteristically.
Yeah, when he took that, when he ripped
stripped,
who
and
was that?
he just stripped the
It
ball.
was
in
like
it.
in the tackle. He just
just ripped it out of his hands, right?
Yeah.
And we know he can do that. So I thought he had a reasonable game, but he has had a few bumps in the road recently. I've seen him for Munster look a bit tired.
Yeah, his last game that he had for Munster was not a good
It was
game
not,
at all.
and that's a weird thing to say because that guy is never usually anything but amazing.
There's a lot of miles on these guys.
Right.
Not as much as South Africa though.
No, but I would say
Springbok
South
players.
Africa's depth is way bigger than Ireland. So
Yeah, they were missing some key players.
mm.
It's Ireland lost. They lost the game.
yeah,
You can't win games with the 13 penalties.
no, you can't. That's the
Like,
bottom
you're
line,
not
right?
going to win it. New
Gave away
Zealand,
2 penalties.
New Zealand went like it was almost like they switched roles. These two teams,
Mm.
right? Because usually it's New Zealand with the bad discipline,
But they'll still.
and they're just handing out points. Like, you
Yeah.
want a 3, you get a 3. Everyone
Yeah.
gets a 3. They're just handing out points like it's
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
Halloween.
Yeah.
And Ireland are disciplined. They're in like it was like the roles reversed in this game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And-
We're not used to Ireland being anything but very disciplined, having the ball all the time.
And also like the number of knock-ons. It was like watching like Italy or like
It was.
Argentina or something like
But
that.
both teams as well. It was raining, and both, like, when we think of southern teams, we think of like warm, sunny weather. They love open running rugby. New Zealand, it rains a lot in New Zealand. They're not. They know how to play in the rain, right?
Yeah.
So
I would say they're-
obviously Ireland know how to play in the rain. That's got to be the rainiest fucking country in Europe, right?
I would say like in the south, like the South Island in New Zealand, the weather in the South Island, New Zealand, and Ireland are probably really
I've
similar.
heard that. I've heard people
Really,
say
really
Welsh
similar.
weather and New Zealand weather are basically the same,
Yeah.
particularly in the south. But point is, like, they know how to play in the rain. But they came out and both teams are like, "Fuck it, we're throwing the ball around," right? And I respect that, but it didn't work. They were both dropping it everywhere,
Yeah, a lot of Irish pundits were knocking that game plan that Ireland had. They were going to try to play this like quick short pass game
Yeah.
in the rain.
Yeah. I mean, you can analyze it to death, and that's what we do, and it's fun. But ultimately, I think Ireland just didn't have their best day at the office, and they need a bit of leadership. They've had it so good for so long, and they've actually been very lucky with injuries. The second they have a slightly subpar performance, everyone's losing their fucking minds. Like, it's no shame to lose to New Zealand.
Another big talking point too is the lack of playing minutes a lot of the players had.
Who?
Well, Keller has played 17 minutes of rugby.
Right.
So and then like Rob Herring hasn't played for Ireland since like
Yeah.
the World Cup or something
Yeah.
like that, some shit. And then, so there's a lot of people mentioning about how the lack of Peter Manny.
Yeah.
So I went online to figure out how many minutes these players have played.
Oh, your research of the week. I like it.
My research of the week. So I went online. I started looking at these numbers,
Yeah.
and then about 3 minutes into that, I was like, "Oh my god, this is gonna take forever."
Yeah.
So then I tried to Google it, and then
Yeah.
there was nothing on Google for it, and then I gave up.
Well, you can just. It's easy to see as well, though, isn't it? We watch the Irish teams often enough. You know who has played. I'll tell you some positives, all right? And then I do want to talk about New Zealand a bit as well because they fucking won the game. Jameson Gibson Park was incredible. Like, he was just defensively a complete fucking nuisance.
He reminds me of Faf de Klerk.
Yeah, he does, because he's just everywhere. And he
Yeah.
just pops up, but he's like, defensively, though, he'll just put in these insane tackles on people who aren't expecting him to be there. James Lowe loves beating his country of birth. Like, he's just up for it anytime he's playing New Zealand, isn't he? So he's playing well. Max Hansen, straight back from injury, did not look out of place at all. Like, he played really well, especially under the high ball. Finlay Bealham, I thought, everyone was worried about losing Tyke Furlong. I didn't think Finlay Bealham... I thought Finlay Bealham did well. He scrummaged really well. There was a penalty against him, and I thought that wasn't actually a penalty against him. I thought it was really harsh.
People underestimate Finlay Bealham. I've said it a lot. Finlay Bealham's good.
You've also shat on him, though. You've also said he's not as good as
I
the
think
guy
it's
above
you.
him.
You're talking about you.
No, that's not me. I would
Yeah.
never say that.
Yeah,
but
that's
Ireland's
you.
lack of depth is a concern, and you look at Hooker is a good example of that.
They have a lack of depth in certain positions.
They do.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
say they have a depth problem in general. They have a lot of good players they can like take off the bench, but in certain positions, especially in their prop area,
Yeah.
they're very shy. Hooker's not an issue. They just have a lot of injuries right now.
Right.
Locks, they have
Yeah,
good
locks for days, yeah.
Locks for days, except they made some questionable decisions there.
I think they're probably weak at centre, full back, and wing.
I don't think they have great depth at center. At centers.
Really?
Yeah.
But here's the issue, right? Let's say you've got Aki and Ringrose.
Yeah.
That's fine. You could bring Robbie Henshaw in, who's
Yeah.
a lion. That's excellent.
Yeah.
Then you could bring Stuart McCloskey in, who's also
Yeah.
excellent. But these guys haven't played for Ireland for a long time. So, yes, they've got the quality. And this is Ireland's problem for me. They don't rotate their national team players enough, right? So when you do have a guy who's injured, you bring in someone like Rob Herring or Kelleher, and they haven't played for Ireland in such a long time. They look a
'cause they
bit
had their
rusty.
When you're talking about Ireland, you're playing a lot of high stakes games.
But who isn't?
So you're playing your best.
Right,
You're
but
not
who
gonna
doesn't do that?
You're not going to experiment when you're playing against like New Zealand. You're not going to experiment when you're playing against England. You're not going to experiment when you're playing against South Africa.
So when do you do that? Because England, New Zealand, South
You never
Africa
do.
also play those same
you don't
games.
when you can't.
But
I guess when you play Italy, when you play Italy, you could do it, and they did that. They put it. They changed their whole team. When
It's
they
not
played.
enough, though. It's
Yeah.
not enough because those other teams do that, right? They do
They
rotate
don't.
their players.
They don't do it as much.
Look
as
at
you
South
think.
Africa. They do. Like they had.
Yeah, but South Africa has the biggest most talented player pool in the world. So of course they have 100 Andre Pollards. They have 100 Vincent Koch.
they do have. But I would even say the same for England.
For them.
England kind of have the opposite problem. They don't know who they want to play, so they play different guys every week in these positions,
I
right?
think that Farrell's decision, when they were talking about the lack of minutes and stuff, if I was to guess what his method, what he was thinking when he was choosing this team, he wanted to go with what he had and who had the most experience. He was trying to go for experience in this game rather than who was in form.
Right.
So he went experience over form.
Right.
Because I heard a lot of people talk about, they should pick this guy in there. He's been playing really well. This guy should have went in there. He's been playing really well. But he went with the guys that he knew that he's experienced, that did this job before and could do this job. So, and I think that kind of backfired, but I don't think he made... I wouldn't think it's a bad decision because we've seen Borthwick is another coach that a lot of people get on their case that he picks... he basically picks his guys over who's in form.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's proved people wrong in points.
When?
Sometime. He's done it. It's happened.
Okay.
So I wouldn't think Yeah, I just don't know. It's like it was a gamble. He had to gamble. He could have went with who's in top form right now, or who he trusts can get the job done, and has the experience and has done it before. So that was a gamble he made. I don't know. Like Farrell's not a perfect coach. Like look at the World Cup, how he played the same team every fucking game.
And that's my big problem
and then
with
they're
Ireland.
completely
though.
fucking dead.
This has been my problem with Ireland since even since the start of Joe Schmidt's time. They'll peak at the wrong time, and then by the time they get to a World Cup, they're knackered because they've been playing the same guy in the same position for far too long. And that's happening right now in front of us. They're playing the same guys in the same positions for too long. Injury forces their hand. When those guys come back, they'll be straight back in the squad, and then come World Cup time, they'll be fucking knackered. They'll peak at the wrong time again. But the crazy thing is this time round, they do have the depth. They've got 4 excellent provinces, right? And they've got excellent talent in those provinces. And if you're not giving these guys, you have to blood them during big games outside of the World Cup windows. That's what South Africa did. They were willing to lose some games outside of the World Cup to win the World Cup. And look what happened, right? Ireland aren't willing to do that. And the lack of depth isn't an excuse anymore.
Yeah, because if you're going to be, especially for them, for them maintaining that number 1 spot for as long as they did, I like you think they have like some sort of endless talent pool.
I know they do.
I don't think they do.
Okay.
They do not have that. Like they have a lot of good players for like the URC.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like world class, no, they're not matching.
How would you know? We don't see them.
Yeah.
They don't give them a chance. We don't know that.
So you could just see it from their like club play. But yeah.
Anyway, I don't think they. Let's talk about New Zealand though. You want to say anything about New Zealand? Be rude to not talk about the winners of the game, wouldn't it?
It was just kind of like I just felt like the two teams are kind of the same, right? So I just kind of like was not. There wasn't really any shining stars.
Take those green glasses off for a second.
In New
Put
Zealand.
these all black glasses on for a minute.
D-Max boot.
Yeah, Iceman.
For how much hate he gets.
He was class.
Yeah, he really stepped up. This game.
He's not a guy who historically is known for his kicking.
No.
But look at those kicks he nailed.
Yeah.
That try New Zealand scored, I text you, is one of the best tries I've ever seen. Literally end to end of the field.
I've seen that like a million times though. They
but the speed they did it at, they made Ireland look amateurish. There was no one on the other side of the field by the time they got the ball out there. The speed of the passing was
you're
incredible.
Talking about the best offensive team in
right. I'm just saying we shouldn't take that for granted. It was impressive, you know. I thought Will Jordan, he gets a lot of stick, and I've given him some stick. Mm-hmm. There was a critical moment for me where a high ball goes up, and it was him versus Mac Hansen, and if he doesn't get that ball, it's an Ireland try, right? And he takes it, and then he makes a bit of ground, and he gets into the right area of the field, so he's got support around him. Like, he reminds me a bit of Lee Halfpenny in this, not in the sense of like attacking flair, but just that he is a smart fullback. He knows where to be and what to do. And as a fullback, you have to do that. You have to be that, right?
It was. I think that worked. I think it was the New Zealand was kind of lucky to have Bowden injured, because he would have been in there. Not Freddie Stewart, and Freddie Stewart is really good at fullback.
Yeah,
like that's his prime position.
Freddie Stewart,
or who did you just talk about?
Will Jordan.
Yeah, Will Jordan. Like Will Jordan is that's his position.
Yeah.
It's fullback.
Yeah.
And like when he's playing on the All Blacks, he always gets moved to the wing, where he doesn't shine. He can't get into the game enough.
There's not enough space, is there?
Right. So now that he's in fullback position, he could play more in the game.
Yeah.
So that was actually kind of a blessing, probably in disguise, for the All Blacks.
Yeah.
Because he was where he needed to be a lot of the times.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it was a smart fullback play, especially when Ireland were looking for contestable kicks.
I don't rate him as a wing at all.
I don't rate him in the best. I'd maybe put him in the top 5 fullbacks in the world. But what he did well in that game was very important, right?
Yeah, I just don't like any kind of scrap collector wing. Is in my eyes like not a great it's
not very modern, is it?
No, and the ball just gets to these people in a position where they have like you just got to do very minimal things to be successful.
Yeah,
it's just you're not, there's no work.
No,
like if you look at like good wings like Faye Waboso. Like he is working. He creates things. He's making work happen.
Yeah. He comes up and the mark for me is defensively, right? If they're able to defend, like they're taking their job seriously. Because how many wingers do we talk about? And they're like, oh, they're not defensively there yet. It's like 90% of wingers. But if they're good defensively, they're taking their job seriously, which means they're going to pop up across the field. They're going to do other things except finish things and be the glory guy, right? Because the winger's often the glory guy, isn't he? But a lot of the time, a lot of those tries are run-ins. Like there's no one in front of you. All you got to do is be as fast. And if you're not fast, you shouldn't be on the wing, right? So yeah, I know what you're saying. But yeah, that was.
Anything else from New Zealand?
I thought they played well. I just don't like the idea that they didn't play well. I don't like the idea that Ireland lost that game. I thought New Zealand won that game.
Well, they did win the game.
Right, but the narrative is...
No, you just don't like my narrative.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, I didn't like the narrative you were giving to me, which was like, Ireland gave the game to New Zealand.
Well, they did. They gave them 18 points. They could have been avoided.
But I think what New Zealand
when
did...
we talked about the cards thing, you have total control over what you do all the time.
Right.
So Ireland had control over every mistake they made.
Right.
And they kept making these mistakes.
Right. And I think, unforced errors is a good point, but I think if you take away from that victory, you're ignoring the fact that New Zealand played really well, which I think they did.
They had to play well to beat Ireland.
Of course they did. Yeah. But I think we should talk about that,
I'm just saying that, you're not going to win any games if you hand out all those points.
No, you're not. No. Yeah, but it was a close game.
And not being able to string more than I don't think Ireland got 5 phases.
No, I think it was 3 or something like that.
Yeah, that was their max.
Yeah, they didn't get far, which is not, and I think they got 37% possession, which is very un-Irelandy, isn't it? Like if they're not above 50% possession, then they're not doing Ireland things, are they? But yeah,
what I like about this new thing. I love what I've seen now in the international games a lot lately is the battles at the breakdown. I think are a lot more dynamic now. There's a lot more people challenging in the breakdown. A lot more counter-rucking going on. I love a good counter-ruck.
Yeah.
And you're seeing that a lot more. You saw that a lot this weekend, too.
I think when Ardie Surveyor's on the field, you've got no option but to counter-ruck, right? Because that guy is the king of counter-rucking.
He is a cheat code.
He'll just take 3 guys off the ball on his own. So, yeah, if he's on the field, you've got to put more guys than you want into the ruck a lot of the time.
There's he's one of a handful of players that... if you're choosing a dream team,
oh yeah,
he's one of your first guys on the list.
And if I don't see him on a dream team list, I'm like, you're wrong.
Yeah,
you're just wrong.
Yeah, if you don't put him if you don't put Ardie Surveyor in your dream
in a
team,
World 15,
if you don't put him in your team of the week, even if he didn't even play,
you're wrong. you're wrong. Because you see all these lists and people comment well, it's just your opinion. It's like, yeah, but if Ardie Surveyor's in there, it's not an opinion actually. You're just objectively wrong.
Yeah, it's just exactly it. Yeah. I can make excuses for other players.
Yeah.
But he is a special talent.
He really is. He really is.
He's got everything that every other player wants.
Yeah. Yeah, he's that guy.
He could pass, he could run, he can tackle, he can jackal.
Yeah.
He could do anything.
But he does more than that because when he's supposed to jackal, he'll jackal and then score on his own or something. Do you know what I mean? He can do everything.
He is. Yeah, we're not going to see a player like him for man, he's just so special.
I kind of felt that way about Kieran Reid when he played.
There you go. There's an All Black that had a good game.
Kieran Reid?
Ardie Surveyor.
Yeah.
He was...
he's never bad.
Also, the Ireland were very lucky that they didn't bring on Roigard earlier.
Who's Roigard?
Cam Roigard.
Oh, yeah.
Because they had that Radama guy playing, and he looked a little shell-shocked. He looked a little little shaky out there. And when they brought Roigard on, that's when the game really started changing for the All Blacks.
The game didn't start until about 35 minutes, really, did it? Yeah. It did seem to... Anyway, whatever. We've said enough about that.
Yeah, we said enough about that.
Yeah.
Ireland gave the game away. They could have won. But anyways, let's talk about... there was a bunch of internationals.
We shouldn't have given that game so much time. We've got a lot to talk about.
Whatever. Who cares? We can go...
I'm talking retard. I'm just joking. I don't give a fuck. I can talk about this all day.
So there's some Portugal lost to USA.
Yeah, they did.
I was expecting Portugal to win the shit out of this.
Yeah.
Which I'm a little jealous of. I was like, the USA won? I was like, fuck, Portugal. You guys should have what the fuck?
Yeah.
Because I didn't want them to win at all. Uruguay beat Spain. Canada got fucking
I actually watched a decent part of the Canada-Chile game. Chile.
Chile?
Fuck, what do you do, Canada? What do
You
you
can't
do?
win games like when you can't like for
Good
Canada,
fair play to Chile though. They were fucking
you
clinical.
can't win games when you're picking players from like beer leagues in
Yeah.
like fucking Alberta.
And you've got one coach who does everything. He
Yeah.
makes the sandwiches, makes the tea. Like
you can't. You're not gonna win it. You're not going anywhere. There's no
going forward, is there?
There's
Although
no going forward.
old Lucas Rumble had a good try at the end.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he did. Scored.
I didn't even watch the game. I saw it and I was
Yeah.
like, they're gonna fucking lose.
Chile looked dangerous, actually. It's hard to. I want Chile to be good, so it's like, are they good or Canada just shit? I couldn't tell.
Chile are good.
They are good. I know.
Chile's
I know.
good.
In the World Cup, they played very well. They were impressive. I'd love to see. I'd love to see Chile, Portugal. They're kind of like the two little darlings of the world rugby now, aren't they?
I like
be
a good
game.
Chile Uruguay game too.
That'd be good. That'd be good. Yeah.
Yeah, like good for Chile. I'm all happy for Chile.
Totally. Yeah.
Canada didn't lose this game. They kind of gave it away.
Gave it away by 50 points or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they good on Chile. In Canada, like, yeah, I can go on about this. I really don't. Like, there's a reason why we rarely talk about Canada,
Yeah.
and we're a rugby podcast in Canada,
Yeah.
and we never talk about Rugby Canada.
They're
It's
not
just such a-
relevant, are they? In the really sad to say.
They'll come out with a post every 6 months of a grand plan that they have,
Yeah.
and then that disappears, and then 6 months later, like, we have a grand new plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, no.
Nobody cares. It's sad because they
Shock.
used to.
Shock of the weekend. Your boys, your English fam, your favorite team lost.
England, Australia. Are we talking about that now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know-
Okay. First thing.
I see where your Cardiff Blues hat. Cardiff Rugby, sorry.
No, there's still the Blues in my heart. This was a hell of a game. There's a
lot of stories in this game.
There's a lot of stories in this game. What have I got in my notes? Okay, so first of all, this is the most points Australia have scored at Twickenham. And it's the most points England have scored in Twickenham and then lost. So maybe that just sounds like I'm listing off some unique stats. I'm not. The point I'm trying to make is, remember how people were talking about Australia last fucking week? Last fucking week. We were just shitting on them, right? It was just no chance they're beating. And then they looked like the Australia team of old sometimes, right? Really quick delivery, dangerous with the ball, like so much space and time that they created. Because England have got a good aggressive defense. They create their own space very well.
We've mentioned in, Australia's attack
Yeah.
on the pod before.
Hundreds of times.
We've talked about their attack being really good.
Yeah.
We have. We
Yeah.
said their defense is shocking.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of this game, it looked exactly like it was going to go
Yeah.
the way it goes. And their defense was bad throughout the game too.
Yeah. Yeah, but England's
both
must have
teams-
been worse then. By that logic, England's must have been worse. And last week everyone was talking about how good England's defense was. What the fuck happened to it? Australia scored 40 points on you at home? Like,
Do you think it's two different systems? Like they started one system. Felix Jones fucked off. Now they've brought in I can never say it, this unknown, this like
Joe El Abd.
this
It
no
needs a
name.
vowel, doesn't it? And
Yeah.
that's coming from a Welshman.
They brought in this like no name brand like
Yeah.
defense coach. So I feel like there is like two different defensive systems kind of clashing.
If you were smart, you'd come in and go, "What were you doing? Because that was great," and
Yeah.
then just tell me about it, and we'll keep adding to that. So I don't think they've changed anything because they were still blitzing.
Well, there was a lot of times like some players were blitzing and some players weren't, and they got caught off guard by it.
I think that's part of the plan. Is like the first guy shoots up a bit more, and the rest kind of come up quickly, but not as quickly. So you put pressure on the first ball receiver, and everyone else kind of is there in a hot second after that. But I don't want to take away from Australia though, because I do think their attack was that good, right? Like sometimes you just can't defend against a good attack. You know?
Even in the we talked about this during the rugby championship. Like their attack is
It's very good.
it's really good.
Yeah.
When they get the ball in hand, they can make things happen. It was their defense that was really holding them back. Their discipline too was really shit. But like in this game, they really like tidied it all together. I was waiting for Australia. I was like having a coming out of their shell moment.
Were you though? Because I wasn't.
There's a clip from last week when I said it.
Fair enough. I believe you. I'm just
Yeah.
I'm depressed. Not depressed. I'm actually really happy about this. We need a good Australia. I want the Lions tour to be exciting. But the way everyone was talking, including me and you, was like Australian rugby is done. If they have another flash, that's kind of the last.
Oh yeah,
that's the last spasm of life.
I
you know?
still said last week they were going to lose this game.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So did I.
Yeah, 100%.
We barely even talked about it. So like, this is a foregone conclusion. You know.
Everyone did.
Yeah.
They were completely written off.
Yeah, and that guy Ben Youngs on his own podcast had to kind of release a video saying, "Yeah, I'm eating humble pie. I was so wrong," because he really put the boot in. He was like, "It's not even going to be."
Well, you have to go by what you've seen.
And that's what I'm saying. Like
there was just no way.
There was no evidence for that.
There was no
performance.
evidence.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
You're not gonna. There's like, oh no, they're like a sleeping superhero.
Yeah.
I had a feeling that they're gonna have a coming out of their shell moment. They were gonna have a good game somewhere.
Yeah, but it'd be like a final heartbeat before they die kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah.
What this says too is, who's that player that league guy?
Joseph Suali'i.
Suali'i.
What a guy.
That was his
First
first
ever game of rugby. Yeah.
Union. He played. So he went to.
Yeah, we should put in context. 'Cause
when
everyone
he was
says
a
that really
schoolboy,
dramatically. Yeah.
he played Union.
Right.
So he came from Union. He got he got stolen from the evil empire of league and brought into league.
Yeah.
What it shows though is there's talent
Yeah.
in Australia.
There's a lot of very athletic guys who play. It's like if there was a sport that was very similar to soccer, maybe you play with two balls on the field, and then they come to normal soccer, and everyone's like, "This is the first professional game." Isn't that amazing? I was like, no, they played a really, really, really similar game, right? So yeah, he's good, and yeah, it's his first game of rugby union, but
As a professional,
it's not like he's a stranger to the sport, you know?
No, but it's still like
It's impressive though.
yeah, it's still
Very impressive,
super impressive. And your first win is against England,
Yeah.
and you were expected to lose.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that freedom to play, him and Tom Wright, Kellaway as well, they had a lot of players who just were brave, wanted to attack, and there was not a lot of expectation on them. And Joe Schmidt's doing something. There's a lot of good things happening in Australia, obviously, that we're not aware of, and that's very good for them and for the Lions Tour. And
Also, Australia has some ball runners. Like they got some big boys running on the ball.
yeah,
Like that. What's his name? Angus Bell.
yeah.
Holy shit.
And how have we not mentioned Bobby V yet? Because he's just the hero of Australia, isn't he? Like, what a fucking player.
Yeah, it was a great game.
It was a very entertaining game. And that last, because I was showing you, we rewatched right at the end of the game, and I was pointing out the fact that when Australia scored their winning try, it's 2 minutes into injury time, and actually the crowd is kind of muted. They're like, it was close, we were nervous, but this game's done. We've just got to wait for Australia to knock the ball on. And then the speed of hands to get it to the winger and score was incredible. Like, did not give up,
I feel like the big difference between the Southern Hemisphere sides this weekend and the Northern Hemisphere sides, fitness.
Yeah, yeah.
Teams like the Southern Hemisphere teams were going right to the end.
Yeah, that's a theme I wanted to talk about is whenever these autumn internationals come around, everyone's kind of, and the Southern Hemisphere teams are guilty of this, their media is guilty of this. They're like, we're tired, we're probably going to go up and lose to you guys who are amazing. And it's almost like they're gaslighting us because it's like, no, you've come out of the rugby championship. You've been playing the best teams in the world back to back very recently. We haven't played an international in about 2 months. You're battle hardened and ready and fitter probably. All our guys have been on a beach for, farting and drinking for a while. Like,
Came in, played
this
a couple
doesn't
games.
surprise me when they come up and win. And there's less at stake for them, right? They come up here on a fun tour, right? They just,
Oh, they want to win.
of course they want to win.
It's the proving ground.
Of course they want to win. But if you're Ireland, you're number one in the world, and you're playing at home, or if you're England and there's a lot of pressure on your coach, there's so much pressure on you to win these games at home, right?
I think there's a lot of proving ground for both sides.
Because if you come up here and you're Australia or New Zealand or South Africa, if you lose, it sucks. You don't want to lose. It's not the end of the world. If you lose in your England, you could lose your coach. If you lose in your Ireland, your media is going to crucify you.
Yeah. They're gonna like if New Zealand lost these games,
Yeah.
like they're gonna get crucified.
They would. They
Yeah.
would. Every game for them is a big deal. But this is a less big deal than losing in Christchurch, isn't it? It's a less of a big deal than losing in Eden Park.
Oh, 100%.
So I don't buy into this narrative that we have the advantage in this series. We don't. They do.
Oh, yeah, for 100%. There's like it's not an advantage at all.
No, and they're not scared of our home crowds. They don't give
No.
a fuck.
I don't think there's any team that really is.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I don't think there's any team that goes into anywhere and like, oh no, the home crowd.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I mean, it must affect you, right? Because I've been in the Millennium Stadium where the roof is closed, and the noise, you can feel it. Like, it physically
I think those
vibrates
players
you.
just feed off of that, too.
And I think they
you
do,
think
right?
Mauro Toji cares?
No, he loves it. He probably sat there going, "You little Welsh
You
fucks,
can
watch
see his
this."
power meter going
Yeah,
up as
yeah.
the people boo him.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, yes, give me
Yeah, his hair's about to like go Super Saiyan, you know?
Send me your hate. He's just going more and more
Yeah,
fucking
no, I believe it.
powerful.
I believe it, you know?
But yeah, back to like the Suoli'i,
Yeah.
like going from league to union
Yeah.
in Australia. So yeah, I was thinking, they got the talent. The talent's there.
Yeah.
They're just they're playing the wrong sport.
Yeah.
But also, like, since league is so popular, the one thing about league though is that all the players are the same body type.
Yeah.
So now you have like there's like the development of their forward pack
Yeah.
for rugby union because
Yeah.
everyone wants to play league,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? So all these guys that are staying in rugby are like, you know, fast and thin,
Yeah.
you know, and on the smaller side usually
Yeah.
kind
Yeah,
of.
yeah,
There's some
yeah.
big boys in league though.
Yeah, there are.
But
But
yeah,
you've got to be, the difference is you have to be fast in every
but
position.
you're not
league,
going to
don't you?
see like a lock. You're not going to see Eben Etzebeth playing fucking.
No, he's not
league.
fast enough.
No, it's because because all those players have to be fast, quick. And
Yeah.
So that's a dangerous thing too. That's their forward pack is going to be continuously hurting as more and more players like leave union.
Yeah.
The bigger boys aren't playing anything.
No.
They're just fucking playing Xbox, and all the fit guys are going into league.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so that's what we talked about is the danger of losing the union talent to league. And one thing I forgot about when I was comparing Wales to Australia, I was saying Wales will always be good, always produce talent. We're still a rugby union nation. Australia are becoming not a rugby union nation. But it's a bit of a double-edged sword because as much as they can lose guys to league in Australia, every now and again they'll gain an Israel Folau or they'll gain a Joseph Suoli'i.
But
Do you
that's
know what I mean?
all. Yes, that's true, and they will continue to do that.
Yeah.
The thing is they're only going to get those types of guys.
I see what you're saying. They're only going to get the fast athlete. They're never going to get a forward.
No,
Right.
they're not going to get the star forward they need.
Yeah.
because he's been gone and forgotten.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
If he's not already playing union, he's definitely not coming from league, is
well,
he?
especially because if you're going to public school where the majority of the kids go
Yeah.
in Australia, they don't even have rugby union in their schools. It's league.
Yeah.
So all those big boys are not even playing anything,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They might play league until they get to a certain point because they want to play with their schoolboys. But as soon as they get to a certain point where it gets serious,
Yeah.
those body types aren't making it in.
Yeah. And it's a country which is so awash with very high level professional sports. The union is getting forgotten about, right?
Yeah, so that's the scary thing about Australia. But good for giving them a game that we can
Yeah.
get excited about.
Totally. Let's talk about England. Borthwick out. Graham Roundtree in.
Graham Roundtree in.
Yeah.
Borthwick out.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. How about that?
I don't know. I don't think England rugby wants to spend any more money. Honestly, I don't think he's gonna get fired.
No, I don't think he will either.
He could lose every one of these games.
Yeah.
And they're gonna keep him because they're like, fuck, we spent a lot of money.
Yeah,
Like,
we did.
they spent a lot of money getting rid of
Eddie Jones.
Eddie Jones. They spent a lot of money getting him
Yeah.
because remember he was contracted with Leicester.
Yeah.
So there must have been some buyout shit going on
That's
there.
right, because it's not like Ireland where they own Leicester. They were
No.
like, hey, Leicester, please, can we have your coach? Well, it's going to cost you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if it was the Irish union, they just take him.
Yeah.
Like, he's kind of ours, so
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we'll take him.
I'm going to take a look at his contract, which we fucking wrote, by the way.
Yeah.
Like,
So like they spent a lot of money on him,
yeah.
and there's a lot of people that still like him.
Oh, interesting. I want to meet these people.
Yeah. I was just listening to a very popular English podcast where they were saying like he's a great coach and they were praising him, and that this game should not be on his shoulders.
It should be on his shoulders.
They're like he gave his players a role. They played it for about 20 minutes and then they kind of got fatigued.
That is true. They gave up.
And then they
They
gave up.
played. England always do this. They play like the best rugby I've ever seen for 20 minutes. That'll do. That should see us home.
They just
Like,
they're fading team. They fade.
they do fade.
They
don't they?
fade.
They're
The
soft a bit. They're a bit
the last
soft.
time I've ever seen them do something in the second half of the game was when they played New Zealand and they drew that game. They came back from like
Yeah.
20 something points.
Yeah.
George Ford came on the field and put on
Yeah.
a clinic.
Do you think that's a rigidity thing in training? Like they stick to their structure so much they don't have the because he's in 2 games now. He's brought. This is a big thing I want to talk about as well. Actually, he last game when they were in ascendancy against New Zealand, he took off Marcus Smith, and he replaced him with George Ford. And then the same thing happened in this game. They brought off Smith and Ben Spencer and brought on Harry Randall and George Ford, right? at a point which you thought, what the fuck are you doing? Like Marcus Smith in both of those games was playing really well. I think he moved him to fullback in that last game. But why, what are you doing? And the crazy thing was, and this should never happen, George Ford and Harry Randall were getting ready to go on. Like they've got their warm-up clothes off. The crowd booed. They booed them. So what they're doing is they're booing the decision to bring Marcus Smith off, right? They're like, what the fuck are you doing, Borthwick? But imagine you're George Ford, right? It's 20 minutes left in the game or whatever. Imagine you're Harry Randall, who doesn't have the reputation that George Ford has. Like, you're trying to build up an England player reputation. And people fucking boo you when you come on. How's that going to make you feel when you start playing? Right? No wonder they fucking lose in the last 20 minutes. They're booing their own replacements because of a decision their coach has made. So for me, that is 100% Borthwick's fault. 100%. That's his decision making that lost him that game. Even if they still lose that game, at least he can say,
See, this is what I hate. England never lose a game. It's always Borthwick. Choosing they never lose.
Yeah. Yeah. But we could say that. I mean, they had won that game until like the 82nd minute, though, you know?
They had some scary injuries, England.
Yeah, they did.
Diogo Boso was injured.
Yeah. Come back to Wales.
They're light in the darkness.
Come back to Wales.
He's never come back to
No,
Wales.
I know he's not.
You see him singing "God Save the King." He's like looking up at the sky.
He believes it, doesn't he?
Yeah, he has tears coming out of his eyes now.
He wants God to save the actual king.
Yeah.
I know.
He's staying forever.
Fuck. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I would just say that it's just a fitness problem. I think fitness is the biggest thing with England. Like, they cannot keep up their game plan for 80 minutes.
Yeah.
And their bench.
The bench is just weird.
It's a weird
It's
bench.
not bad. It's just weird.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't feel like the right people for the right jobs a lot of the time at the right times. So yeah,
I think they're still figuring out who's who.
Yeah, I think I don't say this often. I do think Joe Schmidt outcoached Steve Borthwick in that game. That's, I think, exactly what happened.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
And I think if you are England, you expect better. I think, yeah, Borthwick's got to go.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm not usually that strong in my opinions, am I?
I want him to go so we have something to talk about.
Yeah,
I think
drama. I think it's gonna be
Graham Roundtree would be a really good appointment.
Yeah.
Well, Ian Foster.
Yeah, Ian Foster would suit England. I think. I mean, the ultimate guy for me is Michael Checker with a steel chair coming into England setup. You know, because he just suits them. He does. I was.
That is the
dream team, England and Michael Checker. Because you know what makes me sad is like
just his persona.
He's so England in his persona.
Oh, he is.
He's just like, do you know what? I'm doing this, and fuck you for fucking talking back at me.
That's one of the most profound things you said on the podcast.
Thank you, Steve.
Michael Checker is the best call.
Yeah, I said this like the last 2 weeks as well. You just weren't fucking listening to me.
I heard you.
All right.
I wasn't, but I totally 100% agree.
Yeah,
Michael Checker all day.
Because if you said to him, "Did you make the right decision?" He'd just get up, headbutt you, sit back down, and go, "Fucking what about that decision, cunt?" You know. And I love it because what I miss about England is, you know, when I was a kid, I'm raised to hate, genuinely to hate England, right? Like, because of the history, they destroyed our language, our culture, whatever, right? And it was fun at the rugby because it's like, oh, they're fucking rivalry, fucking hate them. And you felt it, right? And it made the game something special. Don't get me wrong, that is quite toxic, but I did love it. And so did everyone else, right? And they fucking hated us just as much as we hated them. And then Martin Johnson's New Zealand coaching fiasco in the World Cup in New Zealand, they had to change it. So Stuart Lancaster came in and he cleaned England's image. So now they're all media savvy, like, yeah, that was a great game of rugby, and yeah, I just want to thank the boys. And it's like, I miss baddie England.
Like,
I miss
that
the baddies.
story where England came out and they purposely stood on the wrong side for the anthems.
Yeah.
Who was it against? And they wouldn't move.
I think that was Wales. It wasn't in the tunnel when Chris Robshaw refused to leave the tunnel or something. He was like, "No, not moving." It was
Wales or Ireland, and they refused to stand where they were supposed to because they already stood there. Like, we're already here, we're not moving.
Yeah.
So the other team actually went to the other side to make sure they were on the right side.
Yeah.
So like, there's like this empty space where like the band was and stuff.
Two stubborn bastard teams.
Yeah.
But can you, like, I want England to be the baddies again, and I want England to want to be the baddies, and Michael Checker is the guy to do that, you know?
Yeah, I just think that they're playing a style game. I always think of England as like the budget South Africa. They want to play like South Africa,
they do.
But they're not as big and fit as South Africa, and they can't keep it up for 80 minutes.
Yeah, they used to be. 2003 World Cup, they were the big, tough, hard bastards, right? They didn't score tries. They just beat the shit out of you and score some drop goals, right?
Yeah.
And I miss those days.
England really... like shoulders on that team.
Yeah.
Back in 2003.
I mean, you would if you won it, though, wouldn't you? You would.
Back in the time when we won the World Cup.
Actually, at that Australia game, they had the whole squad out. Oh, no, was it the New Zealand game? They had the whole World Cup winning squad out. I was like, yeah, guys, we remember. Yeah, don't worry. No one
Do you guys remember these guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
but I agree with you. I like a big bastard bullying English team.
On and off the field.
That's they got to really dig into that. And I think that's what Eddie Jones really brought out of them.
He did.
He really brought the cuntiness out of England.
Yeah, he gave them a nasty edge, which they missed.
Yeah, and now that they're gone, and Borthwick's, he is the most straight edge,
plain as fuck, isn't he?
Yeah, coach ever. But Michael Cheika would bring that spice.
I want it. I want to hate. I'm excited to hate him. You know?
Yeah. He'd be peeing in the corner right before the news conference. Yeah. Because that fucking bathroom's too far away.
Yeah, and they'd be light a cigarette and be like, what the fuck are you looking at? Flick it in someone's face.
He'd be spitting. Like when the England bus comes into like Cardiff, people are like throwing shit at it and spitting at the bus.
He'd be spitting right back. He'd wind down the window and he'd be like giving flick. He'd be like, fuck you, cunts. We're going to smash you at home, you can't. Spit right back at him.
I fucked your mother.
Just scream. Oh, I'd love it.
Yeah, that's what they do, dude. They need that.
Yeah, come back, baddie England. We miss you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the next game.
Oh, no, I'd rather not.
What? We got another game.
Oh, fuck.
Wow, you're just so, the world doesn't...
I've hyped myself up then.
The world doesn't even revolve around Wales.
I know. Tell me about it.
Italy, Argentina. Remember that? That happened.
I did actually. I watched that on my streaming service yesterday. I watched it on DAZN yesterday. Yeah. It was actually a good game for about half an hour. It's pretty close. Ange Capuozzo got injured, and that kind of took the sting out of Italy. Argentina are a better team. Argentina
are a great team.
Yeah. Yeah.
They made a statement there. I'm scared of them.
They should be scared of them.
I think any team that's playing them, you have to get out of the Argentina of old is gone.
They are not inconsistent anymore.
They are. I still think there's a little bit of inconsistency, but they will beat you. They will beat anyone. They can beat, and they have. In the last few years, they've beaten everyone.
Really good example of this. You were just talking about when the Ireland blood youngsters, and you're saying you do it against Italy in the Six Nations, which is true, right? But Argentina are not a team you develop against anymore. They're a team you take seriously and you put your best 15 on the field, right?
100%.
Every time. You can't underestimate them anymore.
No, you can't.
No. And times have changed.
That's why they're the greatest rugby nation in the world.
I agree. Yeah, pound per capita.
Yeah.
Whatever however you phrase it, pound for pound.
When you put all the rugby power that each nation has versus them, it's...
Yeah, that's true. It's so true.
I didn't get to watch this game because I was at a funeral.
Oh.
But when I saw the score, it was not surprising. And also, Italy has a lot of injuries, and we talked about that last week too.
That was a pretty first choice Italy
both
squad.
Their centers that carried that team.
No, they were one of so they had Limoncello and is it Ignacio? So they're their best centers playing, I think.
No way! I thought they were injured.
They were, but they're not now.
Well, they came back, so maybe they're playing. Can you guys play? Well, we really shouldn't.
Kind of need you to.
I'm in a cast. We can take it off. We can take the cast off.
I can take it off right now. I've got scissors.
Yeah, I can take it off right now. George, get that thing off. Just the janitor.
The bone sticking out. Don't worry. Shut up.
Yeah. I didn't know they were just playing. And then what about the France-Japan game? You got anything to say about that?
Not really. No. Japan are a letdown.
Yeah, I don't have anything to say about them. It's just
not really. It's sad because I want Japan to be good. Generally, I want Japan to be good in that game so we can figure out how good France are right now. France are really hard to gauge, and they're going to play New Zealand really soon here, and it's hard to know where they're at. I think they're very good. I think they fell off their projected path in the Six Nations because Ireland and France were on this. We're here to fucking stay. We're the best teams. South Africa, New Zealand, watch out. And in the Six Nations, France kind of looked tired and shit and fell off the wagon a bit. Ireland didn't, which is great, but I don't know if France have recovered from that because all they've done since the World Cup is development games, really. They haven't played any huge games.
Well, they've blooded a lot of new players.
There's two guys I wanted to mention from that game. Oh, I wish I could remember their fucking names now. There's a winger. I'm going to do a racist noise now. It's like Babblieri or something. That's horrible. I apologize. But he's fucking good. And they had a centre. Okay, this is embarrassing. I shouldn't talk about things unless I've remembered people's bloody names. But they've got some good players. Jesus, this is embarrassing. I'm just going to stop talking about the game. Suffice to say, I think France... I don't know who will win France-New Zealand. I don't know who will win that game.
We guess let's not make any predictions yet. We still got some time to talk about.
Fine.
Now let's talk about it. Let's talk about your boys. Wales, Fiji.
Okay, now.
Fiji.
Okay. Let's start on a positive. Fair play to fucking Fiji. They are also a team who you don't underestimate anymore. They beat England in Twickenham. Sorry, they beat England at the World Cup. Sorry, what the fuck? I'm on a brain fart all of a sudden. Beat Australia at the World Cup. Beat England. Beat us at home for the first time ever. The key thing for me is a settled 9 and 10 who can kick and game manage. Fiji were terrible at game management. Their discipline has also improved massively.
Also, their scrum was historically bad too.
Okay,
and that is now a weapon of theirs.
I have a statistic for you. They had statistically the best scrum in Super Rugby this season with a 91% success rate. And no one's talking about that because their backs are so incredible that actually, quietly, they've fixed their line out, they fixed their scrum, and they fixed a lot of their discipline issues, the breakdown, which used to lose them games, by the way, right? They've sorted a lot of their problems out. So having the Drua has paid dividends. It has paid massive dividends. And just having Caleb Muntz and Frank Lamani playing 9 and 10, who can both kick, by the way, right? Lamani can hang a box kick way high in the air.
How long do you think it's going to take Sanzar to...
steal them?
Not steal them, but shut down the team. When they because I feel like the conspiracy was, you know, when they had what was the Argentina team called?
The Jaguares.
Yeah, remember them?
I do.
And then Argentina started getting really good.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Sansa's like, yeah, you guys don't have a team. We're kicking you out.
Yeah, when the Crusaders had to play the Jaguares in the final, like, fucking hell, are they good?
Yeah.
Get the fuck away from us.
Like I think that's I feel like they totally was on purpose. Like, that's my rugby conspiracy.
I like a conspiracy theory.
They killed that team because they didn't how...
They did it to the Sunwolves. They did it to the Jaguares. They're coming for you, Drua.
Yeah. It's like, how long until they kick Drew out? Like, yeah, you guys can't have a team anymore. We don't like this.
Yeah. No,
we don't like this cohesion you guys are creating.
As funny as that is, New Zealand need good Super Rugby teams from other countries in that competition, so they're probably loving it.
Because when you look at teams like Tonga, Samoa, Fiji, those 3 island nations, when you look at the players on their player sheet, they got incredible
talent,
isn't it? Incredible
talent.
It's insane. But they're usually slapped together at the last minute. Thrown on the field.
And that was what happened against Scotland, wasn't it?
Yes.
There was a scratch team who'd had about 20 minutes to practice together. But they have improved their preparation time together massively, but it's still lacking, isn't it? And all their other guys were still in French prisons waiting to be released for day release to play, you know?
Yeah. Can you please get up top 14? Can you please let us go play?
Yeah, it's our country. No, back to the mines.
Back to the
of the Pro D2.
Yeah. So yeah, because like the players on some of the players on Fiji are the highest paid players in the world,
right?
Playing in the top 14,
right? Yeah.
Right. So it's just only a matter of just getting the team to play as a team.
Yeah.
It's
literally practice, isn't it? It's literally, but that's what they're getting.
They're basically just practice away from being the best teams in the world.
And to be fair, the core of that team plays for the Drua, right? And it shows. It shows. Finally, New Zealand, Fiji have that consistency together. And like, who's surprised? They produce the most talented rugby players in the world, and I would argue that with people. They literally produce the best rugby players, right? And isn't it a surprise? It's not that they, as soon as they practice together, they're fucking good.
Their athleticism, the size of some of these guys.
The size of their backs, and that's
what was that? There was that they had their 12.
Josh Tuisova,
and then he got tackled by.
Attempted
by, what was his name?
Is it Thomas Williams or Ben Thomas? One of them got sat the fuck down though, didn't they?
Who was 12 for
Ben Thomas?
Yeah, Ben Thomas.
Yeah.
And so they're both 12. And the size difference between the two.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like Ben Thomas looks like a child.
And Ben Thomas is not a small guy, by the way. He's not huge, but like he's your average 12 international size, right? Yeah, that guy too. He's a monster, isn't he? And like even Lamani, like for a 9, he's a huge dude,
Having Caleb Muntz there, like the Fiji 10.
Yeah.
being the conductor of that
Yeah.
team too,
Yeah.
is priceless.
It-
Because he
yeah.
wasn't there at the World Cup.
No, he wasn't.
Imagine if he's playing in the World Cup.
Imagine what could have been, because Fiji in the World Cup, they were one knock on away from beating us in the World Cup. Imagine they had a guy like Caleb Muntz, who they wanted to have. Obviously, he was injured, but when he even, he commands well, he kicks well, he orchestrates the game, but he can also run. He fucked 2 breakaways he caused, which led to tries, right? Like, he was the fucking orchestrator of that victory,
Yeah, they had some. I would not want to play Fiji.
And well, I want to talk about Wales generally in a minute, but just I want to heap praise on Fiji, because we're talking about Argentina and Italy. Italy have had every opportunity,
yeah,
right?
It's a fucking.
It's like, what more can we do for you, Italy? What more do you need to be good at rugby? Meanwhile, Fiji get a scrap of a professional team, And all of a sudden, they're fucking amazing.
They weren't even allowed to have home games for a while. They didn't even book home games.
No.
Like
Yeah.
Super Rugby didn't let them have home games for I think the first season,
No.
2, and then they're like, you can have 1, you can
Yeah.
have 2, and they've been
Yeah.
increasing them slowly, right?
They get the tiniest IV drip of help, and all of a sudden they're good. And don't get me wrong, they beat a really shit Wales team, but let's look at their string of results recently. It's not a one-off, It's not a one-off. This is consistently better performances, which will get better.
Yes,
Which will
100%.
get better, right? So I'm really excited for them. Meanwhile, Italy, what do you need, guys? What do you need?
They just got the red carpet rolled out for them. and
Yeah.
They're getting back massages.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are so good.
Yeah.
Right, go out there and play, and they just get
Yeah.
destroyed.
They win about two
Yeah.
games in the Six Nations.
Italy's really their problems goes deep.
Yeah.
Like their whole systems, like there's just nothing to create
There's no passion, is there?
that. Like it's in so many years,
Yeah.
so much money,
Yeah.
and just no results.
And nothing.
Or mediocre results, very hot and cold results.
And every time there is a result, it's like, oh, finally. And then next week they'll get absolutely battered by Georgia or something.
Yeah.
Not really, but anyway. Fiji. For a long time, Argentina and Fiji have been
Okay,
sort of second teams for
stop.
me.
Stop.
No,
It's
I don't want
time.
to talk about
It's
it.
time.
Let me keep avoiding
No,
the subject.
No, you gotta
Fuck.
bring it up.
Alright,
You gotta
fine.
stop talking
Fine,
about
fine.
Fiji. There was another team there.
No, there wasn't. No, there fucking wasn't.
There was another team there, and we need to talk about this team.
All right, fine.
I'll start it off.
Okay.
Wales are probably the worst and most garbage rugby nation
Wait, aren't you Canadian?
in the tier 1 nations.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we're tier 1 anymore. I think we've lost any right to, because I saw a comment online and someone was like, Fiji need more opportunities to play tier 1 nations, and I was like, we're not a tier 1 nation. They deserve to play better
What
than us.
happened? What happened, Frank?
Well, okay, first 20 minutes,
First 20 minutes looked great.
and we haven't attacked well in a long time. We're actually, fucking hell, not only are we playing well, we're attacking well, right? And our forwards were carrying as well. Forwards are carrying hard. Okay, so this will sound like an excuse, and I accept that, but when we go over this, when it goes over for the second try, it's called back for a yellow on Tommy Raffel, which it was. And we'll talk about that as well. We're going to talk about 20-minute reds
we're gonna get that.
very fucking shortly, but let me talk about Wales's performance generally first, okay? So that took the wind out of our sails, and then there was just so much indiscipline and stop-starting, and Fiji kind of grew into it a bit. They in those moments of chaos and pause, Fiji composed themselves, whereas it just took the wind out of our sails. And because we haven't won a game in 11 games, we don't know how to win, right? When we lose any momentum, it's gone for the rest of the fucking game now.
Gatlin's face and that when they kept he's
Like
shaking,
someone had pissed on his
he's doing
kids
this,
on Christmas Day. Yeah.
subtle shaking of his head. He's like, he's fucking.
These fucking idiots. Yeah. I mean, okay, so if I was going to be positive, I would say we have some good forwards, right? We have some good forwards who can carry the ball. Like Wainwright is still consistently very good. Thomas Williams played very fucking well. Blair Murray on his debut played very fucking well. So I'm excited. If we'd have won a few of those games in the last year, I would be excited because there's definitely positives. We just do not have the confidence or the composure. We've forgotten how to win. That's
There's
it.
even a discipline issue.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
Tommy Raffel's fucking clear out, right?
This was a team where Wales could have like kept composed and let Fiji do Fiji things that they have
Yeah.
notoriously bad because they had 11 penalties in this game.
Yeah. We actually defended
Wales-
really well against Fiji,
Yeah.
which, we just didn't have the discipline,
And Wales had 12.
Yeah.
But it just that was the game where you're supposed to take advantage of that kind of thing, and
Yeah.
then Wales just didn't. They just kind of like joined them, like, yeah, we're gonna fuck up too.
It looked like the cards in the red. It looked like fucking naval signals up there, didn't it? Like a half yellow, half red with a yellow and a red next to it in a diagonal pattern.
Naval flag on a
yeah,
ship.
yeah. What the fuck was going on? So we just didn't take advantage of a 2-man advantage. Sorry, it was a 1-man, I guess, because we were on a yellow. Didn't know how to take advantage of that. And we tried to do the right things. Our line out was way better. Our maul looks very good.
Mm-hmm.
We just lack clinical edge. We just lack composure. Will Rowlands had a bad game. 2 significant turnovers, like close to the try line. Ben Thomas had a bit of a bad missed pass. They were little moments which an experienced, confident player wouldn't have fucked up, and we did. And like, it's fine margins. Unfortunately, I don't want to discredit Fiji, but it was fine margins against Fiji. Those fine margins don't happen against Ireland or England or New Zealand, right?
What did you say about the reffing in this game?
I don't want to be salty, really, but I will talk.
It was fucking all over.
I hated it. I hated it.
That ref was.
I hated it. He
the most
feel like
inconsistent refereeing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I don't want to say he was biased against us, but I felt at times like you're missing some serious shit here. You know.
I thought he was missing serious shit all over the place.
Yeah.
There was just like a lot of like around the head tackles all over the place.
Yeah, they
from
were.
Both
genuinely.
sides.
Yeah. I'm not making
just,
excuses.
Would miss them and he'd call one, and then.
Yeah.
But the yellow red.
Okay, let's talk about it. Is it time?
Oh,
okay,
yeah, it's time.
So
put it on the clock.
Look at this fucking. Look at that. Look at my notes.
I saw you scratch that in the last like the 3 minutes before we started.
Shut up. Still a note. Okay, so I've been hating on the 20-minute red, right? And I came up with a real good reason why I think it's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But let's first talk about the fact that was inconsistently applied. So Tommy Reffel.
Wait, I want to talk about your realization about the red. Right when you first realized there was going to be like a 20-minute red.
Yeah, because you told me. I was like, oh, the game's over now. Fiji have got a red.
And I'm like, no, another
he's coming. Someone's coming back. And then not only did someone come back, he's the top try scorer in France. And I'm like, fucking hell.
Yeah, but I remember when Rafael went off, and then I'm like, don't worry, you guys got another player.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh. And you kind of had a little bit of a moment where you're like, oh, maybe there's hope. Maybe this 20-minute red isn't.
Yeah. No, I went through a lot of mixed emotions for sure.
You did. You went through every emotion.
Did. And I wish I'd focused on the game, because some of the pundits I've seen since, they talked about how genuinely entertaining it was from a neutral. I didn't feel that way, right? Obviously, because I'm too invested in
I was entertained.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Glad. And I'm happy that everyone is behind Fiji. I hate being the baddies who beat them, which we've done a couple of World Cups.
I wasn't cheering for Fiji to win. I wanted Wales to win the game.
Okay.
But I was entertained. It was a good game.
I heard that. Yeah. I heard that. I did not experience that.
It was a messy game.
Yeah.
But it was exciting. There was drama.
It was close, back and forth. Yeah.
There was drama. There was racism. There was all sorts of things.
So let's talk about our perceived racism. So Tommy Reffel clears that guy out, right? It's dangerous.
Complete. The guy's head's already down, and he goes into it.
Just flies into him, right? And I've seen straight reds given for that before. You know? And then I'm thinking that's a red. He goes off for the yellow bunker thing, which I like, the bunker thing. And then Radradra, who was the guy who got shouldered in the head, stumbles over and tries to decapitate. Was it Cam Winnett, I think? Tries to, and that was also dangerous. And I thought, of the two, I genuinely thought Raffles was worse.
I did too, because when it actually like dips down quite a bit before he gets hit in the head.
Yeah.
It was still reckless from Semi.
Both of them were reds. They were different shades of red.
Hands down, both of them reds for days.
I've seen way lighter things given with red cards.
The fact that Rafael got away with it and Semi didn't.
It's crazy.
I was like, I was in so much shock. My only thing I could think of was this
did we just watch a racism?
Yeah, is this a racism?
Did we just watch a racism?
Like there was just no other like explanation. Like how can the two be so far worlds apart like that?
Yeah.
Like it was just like favoritism, like something.
It felt weird, didn't it?
It felt very fixed. It felt very like, how can anyone watch those two hits and not say one's like they're both reds?
Yeah, they're either both reds or they're both yellow.
And we're in the world of 20-minute
reds
reds here now. What's the difference if you give them a red? Like just give them a red. I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I was just beside myself. I was like, how the fuck did this happen? And it was like, the first thing I think I was like, there had to be some kind of racial like thing going on.
We were in shock, weren't we? And I'm as Welsh as they come, and like I was watching that going, what the fuck? Raffel's coming back? Like that was mental.
It was completely like was there someone like it just very conspiratorial. Like
it was spooky, wasn't it?
It was very spooky. I was like, what the how?
Yeah. No, genuinely, I totally agree. I was shocked by that. And then I've been hating on the 20-minute red, right? The big problem for me with the 20-minute red, and this was my epiphany yesterday, and this doesn't apply to Fiji as such, but the fact that they can bring on a replacement who's the top try scorer in the Pro 14 in France, and we can't bring on an equivalent, shows me the future of that problem. And that's not Fiji's fault. They just produce bags of talent.
When you mentioned that fact yesterday, I thought that was a good point. And then you started, because I was like on the 20-minute red side a little bit more now.
I brought you back,
I was warming in, and then you went that. I'm like, yeah, this really benefits teams
with financial resources
and depth. It doesn't really help Fiji.
No, they're the exception almost, because they don't have comparative resources. They just happen to produce a lot of very good rugby players, don't they? Good for them.
It does like the nations that have a lot of players, a lot of resources that can afford to lose players because another good players that come back on.
Yeah.
Like teams like Scotland, completely fucked.
20-minute red for Scotland, and you bring on a guy who's nowhere near equivalent of someone from England or Ireland or New Zealand. It's not fair, is it? It's suddenly not fair, because if I am a country with a significantly bigger population, with significantly more professional rugby players, suddenly my starting 23 is much more important than my starting 15. Because the bench, if I get a 20-minute red, I can potentially bring on someone much, much better than you can. And that changes the game, right?
Yeah, it really showed how it was skewed. Like, it really shows how it favors the team that has, like,
more resources, more depth. Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I guess if that's the world that rugby is going to, if that's the direction rugby is going to go in, these nations need to really focus on development.
And you know what? Okay, so let's talk about
New Zealand. New Zealand only have 4 million people, like 4.5 million.
And lucky a lot of them play rugby, right?
Yeah, and they have a very deep development system. Like, they start playing, like these kids start becoming really good rugby players by the time they're 6 years old.
Yeah, and Ireland's starting to get there. There's only 8 million people on the island of Ireland, but the depth they're producing now because of their academy system is excellent, right? Anyway, but what I want to say about that is, if I'm a team. Oh, I've kind of lost my train of thought a bit here. I'm so bloody angry about it. Like, if I can replace a player who's much, much better than your equivalent, we're not talking about player safety anymore. What is the point of a red at all? Because fair enough, like if I've got my starting 15 and you've got your starting 15, and I'm South African and I've got a much bigger population and much more depth and athleticism in my players versus your country who doesn't, fair enough. It's just my best versus your best, right? And we still have normal red cards. If you play dangerously with your big guys, you're punished for that, and it's safe. Right? But if we introduce the 20-minute red with the same situation, now my 23 is better than your 23, and I can bring on a guy who's much better than your guy, I'm not being punished for dangerous play at all. 20 minutes is 10 minutes longer with a better team isn't suddenly not that important, right? If I can't manage that 10-minute period extra, then it's irrelevant.
Some people would argue it's like, well, that's his fault. You just have a worse team, anyways.
No, that would be true if it was just my starting.
You still see games where teams with a weaker bench or a weaker team in general win a game.
Right. I've got no issue with that. My point is, spectacle is being prioritized over safety. Nothing to do with how good your team is actually. I'm talking now about the fact that it's much more important for World Rugby for there to be a spectacle. Because if you're saying a 20-minute red, we've diluted to the point where it's just an extra 10 minutes, you can still bring an excellent player. The game is you're still probably going to win this game. So the fact that you were able to play very dangerously and still have a very good chance of winning is fucking bullshit as far as I'm concerned, right? And you could meet in the middle. You could say the 20-minute red becomes a 40-minute red. Then I'm with you. Because then if you only lose that play for the second half, if they commit the offence in the second half, at least that's a significant disadvantage. But 20 minutes is not that much compared to 10 for a significantly dangerous action compared to maybe an accidental knock-on. Like, if I try and kill your player with my shoulder to his head versus an accidental knock-on, and the punishment is 10 more minutes for a very good rugby team, it's not punishment anymore, is it? So the spectacle is more important than player safety. So everything World Rugby have been saying about changing the rules to help guys with dementia in their 40s, it's fucking bullshit,
So you're saying the only reason why Wales lost is because he's 20.
I knew you can do that. No, I'm taking nothing away from Fiji. They absolutely... Seriously, though, I don't want this to seem salty because...
Where does Wales go from here? Who goes first? Who goes first, Gatland or Borthwick?
Well, here's the thing. I think Gatland should go, but the truth is we can't afford to pay him out. That's what truth people aren't talking about.
There's a money thing with these two coaches. Like people, I think a lot. There's like speculation, and people are saying like one of these two coaches are going. But I'm like, I think
I think it's Gatland.
No one can afford to.
No, I think England could afford it more than Wales could, just 'cause they've got more money. Remember when we were going to strike against England, and had we have had we have stroked, we would have lost, I think it was 3 million in revenue. We can't afford to not have that money. So if we've got to pay Gatland out of a contract, which I assume is $1 million at least, suddenly...
He can't be happy.
He looked really calm yesterday, which kind of pissed me off. It genuinely pissed, because it's like, this is, you can be positive and say there's green shoots all day. But at the end of the day, this is our fucking national sport. Get good.
Do you remember when we watched the Netflix rugby documentary that you could barely watch?
I didn't like it.
And how Kieran Crowley was just like in Italy, and he just gave no fucks. He was just completely like washed up this team.
And he just sat there staring at his play going, fucking idiot. Fucking dropped it again.
And he's just sitting there. Gatland gave me that vibe.
Yeah, he did.
He's like, this team fucking sucks.
He's not putting pressure on himself. It felt like he's not putting enough pressure on himself. He was being positive, and I was like, how fucking dare you? We don't lose 11 games. We're our national sport, which we've historically been good at. Fuck you.
Yeah, he's a little too calm, a little too... He's very comfortable.
Yeah, he should not be. He should be embarrassed by that.
Yeah.
And if he's not willing to resign, then...
I think he's on the inside.
Yeah.
So he knows all the fuckery that's going on.
He does.
So it's kind of like the guy that's just kind of written off work.
Yeah.
He's just like, this is done.
And actually, I know I sound pretty venomous when I say that, but ultimately it's the WIU's fault. Why do you lock a guy into a contract, even with Gatland's track record? It's just stupid business, isn't it? We're going to give you a contract up to the next World Cup. That's 4 years that could go wrong. And they know that, or they should know
There has to be some sort of performance clauses in these things.
You'd think so, but...
Or maybe they were just super desperate.
They were desperate. They gave him carte blanche. Here's a 4-year contract. Please save us. Because he could do that historically.
He's like,
just
I
bad
don't really want
business,
to come
though, innit?
back. We'll give you anything you want.
Yeah, they literally did. They were like, what do we do to make... Because he said it, and he said publicly he did not want to come back.
Doug Gear is going to give you his daughter. What?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Sorry, buddy.
And he got there, and he's publicly said, I didn't realize how much of a bad state it was in, right? So he sat there making a lot of money going, I can't really get out of this with and look good in that, because if he quit, he's gonna get paid out, and so it's gonna look like I left and took the money, which
we're both assuming too, like he's kind of like throwing in the towel.
It just feels like that.
It
feels like that, and it shouldn't feel like that, because we should be embarrassed by that. We should be embarrassed by the fact, not losing to Fiji, love Fiji, that we've lost 11 fucking games. This is the most we've ever lost in our history. People talk about the 80s and 90s of Wales being like depressing, and it was more depressing overall, but we didn't lose 11 games in a row.
Italy beat you guys.
I know.
And they just got swamped.
Georgia beat us. Yeah. Who's next? Who wants to fucking beat us next? Fucking hell.
Let's talk about the next game.
All right.
Speaking of a coach that will never lose his job, Gregor Townsend.
Yeah.
He's there for life.
He is.
South Africa, Scotland. I think this game pretty much went exactly how you and I called it.
We predicted this very well, didn't we?
They were going to come out, bang hard for about 60 minutes.
Yeah.
And then the bench was going to be the issues.
Bench, and then just running out of steam.
And run out of steam.
Running out of ideas. Yeah.
And it's tragic because Scotland are fucking
Do you remember that phase of play where we just got so hyped up because they were just throwing it around like it was fucking basketball? Didn't score. It just looked amazing.
This is like that game, like... the Springboks played really good, right? But you don't want to talk about them because you knew they were going to play really good.
Yeah.
You knew they were going to be good.
Yeah, of course.
And they did the Springboks things.
Yeah.
Scotland, was just... It was almost... They lost that game, but it was like... there was some kind of positivity around it.
There was. They were just brave, weren't they? They were just throwing it around. It was sexy rugby, and we were excited. They were entertaining us.
Man, Finn Russell is a fucking magician.
He's the mental loot. Yeah, he's and that crossfield kick.
Like he kicked it off the outside of his foot.
Yeah, he was doing some keepy uppies with his legs and just boots it over or something.
Yeah.
Amazing.
He's just unfucking real.
He is. Yeah.
And it's too bad that Scotland, they just don't have the
clinical edge
or the depth.
No.
It's the depth. It's all depth. I think this team
so.
the top 15 can bang with anyone, and it shows. It shows they can.
Of course they can.
It doesn't matter what team you are. Their starting 15 will go up toe to toe with you guys.
Yeah,
and they're they are a team that is even though Gregor Townsend, I make jokes, he's been there forever. You could see the evolution of the team through him.
Yeah,
the flair that they have, the attacking flair, the speed. It always gets... There's something that increases every year.
Yeah. That's the thing. When we joke about him being there for as long as he's been there, It's like, I'd keep him. This is as good as Scotland can be without that depth, right? Probably.
Gregor Townsend for England.
He wouldn't go, though, would he? Why would you go?
19-year contract, whatever the same one he has in Scotland.
Yeah, no, but he played for Scotland for a long
senator.
time, and he loves Scotland, and he's not. Why would you leave? You know, the vibes are good in Scotland. The vibes are good. Blair Kinghorn had a hell of a game as well.
They do rely heavily on mercenary rugby, though.
I was afraid you were going to talk about that because we were like Googling where these guys are born, and it's like
and it was
it's
all
a
over
bit
the fucking...
depressing, isn't it? Like,
yeah, it's a bit. They rely.
Yeah,
actually, a lot of the stars this weekend were for the.
That was another thing we were going to talk
Northern
about.
Hemisphere teams.
Not just Northern Hemisphere, New Zealand specifically.
Yeah, there's a lot of Southern Hemisphere players that shined for the Northern Hemisphere teams this year.
Yep.
I mean, this weekend.
Jameson Gibson Park, Aki for Ireland, Lowe for Ireland, Mac Hansen for Ireland, and then Wales, Blair Murray scores in his debut, and he's a Kiwi. And then you look at Scotland, and like a lot of their heavy hitting forwards are South African, and
I would say that
is,
Scotland's best forward was Xander Ferguson.
Yeah,
and he's
Scottish as they come, and he's a hard bastard as well.
Yeah,
isn't he? Yeah. But yeah, the point stands though. It's like we do still our best players are in the Northern Hemisphere by and large, on average, not from here.
You know who wasn't happy about this game?
Who?
Razzie.
Really?
He was not happy about this game.
Why not?
He thought that they should have done better.
Okay, it's good to have standards.
He had a really strange opinions after this game. He thought he was like there's some things that made him very nervous.
He's up to something. He's up. I never trust that man. He's always wearing a mask, isn't he? He's up to something.
He's always got something in his. He's got stuff in his pockets.
He's doing that for a reason. He's trying to get a reaction, or he's trying to wind people up. Because as much as it felt like a close game. The scoreline did flatter South Africa, but still 32 points to 15. Doesn't look close, does it? That's still a good win against a good side. So I don't know what the fuck he's angry about. He's up to something. He's in your head.
He's in your head.
He's in your head.
Another player that disappeared in this game, Vandermeer. I thought he disappeared in this game.
He had a couple of moments which were just like, that was shocking. It's like, unless you walk over to him, give him the ball to his hand and give him 20 meters of space, it's like, you gonna do something today? Like,
yeah, it's like, you're gonna do some work today there.
Yeah,
and he does really feel like that. I know he does more on the field.
Of course, yeah.
But
he's the kind of winger you're talking about, isn't he? The one-trick pony winger.
He really bugs because he does get rated really high.
Yeah, because when he scores, it looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, I was like, man, come on, man, like put some fucking work on the field there.
Yeah.
So
which he does, but I know what you're saying. Like if he feels a bit one-trick, doesn't he?
Like a player, like look at Mpimpy.
Yeah.
Mpimpy.
Yeah, he's back. He's back with a vengeance.
Isn't he like 35 or something like that?
I don't know. He runs really weird for a fast guy as well. Like his head's all down and his shoulders are hunched. He looks like he runs like Keith Conway. You know?
He does.
Just like he's way faster than he looks. You know.
You have to say you keep
Andrew Wills and Keith Conway.
You can't. Yeah, you got to make sure this
same guy.
Yeah, they're the same player. But people don't know that.
No, most people don't realize Ireland were playing with 14 for a lot of those games. They just had Keith Conway run to the other side of the field when the camera was there.
When I first started watching rugby, I get those two guys mixed up all the time because they were
the same guy.
They're identical, like looking at and they run their body types. They're exactly
I've forgotten his actual name now. Andrew Earl.
Keith Earls.
Keith Earls. Sorry.
Andrew
Yeah.
Conway.
Thank you. Keith Earl. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, but I didn't really have anything to say about South Africa in this game. They did what South Africa do.
Yeah.
They played exactly how I expected them.
Mm-hmm.
I think all the thing is on Scotland on this game and how good they did for how long, because once they started bringing on the bench, that's when everything started like caving in.
The pace slowing the game down still suits South Africa. I don't want to. The bomb squad, they were really fucking good. I hate to admit it, but when they replaced their front row and they just fucking walked over Scotland's scrum, it was like, that's what they do. That's what they do. And I do think what Rassie is trying to do is increase South Africa's flair in attack. Like they want to play more like New Zealand.
They need to.
I think maybe that's what he's pissed about. They're still very reliant on their forwards.
Their style keeps other teams in the game. The problem with South Africa is they play that attritional style of rugby.
Yeah.
Their offense lacks hard because of it.
Yeah.
And they keep other teams and you're beating these teams. You're beating them in the scrums. You're pounding them up front.
Yeah.
You have great defense, but if you're not getting points on the board, the team is still if it's 0-0, both teams are winning still.
Yeah. That's right.
So like that's the problem. So they need to evolve their offense.
And they're trying. I think maybe that's if Rassi was actually pissed off. That's what I would be pissed off about in his shows. But they've been working very hard on getting the ball wider and like using their very talented backs, but they're still obviously reliant on their forwards, which is what happened in this game.
I just don't think Andre Pollard is that guy.
No,
that's
he's
the
not.
thing. Andre Pollard is not. He's part of that like orchestrating 10 kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's Feinberg Ngoma-Zulu, isn't it? He's the guy. He's just injured.
That guy wasn't he on the?
I thought he was injured.
Was he injured? I thought he was. Oh yeah, that's right. It was Cam Moody I was thinking of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sorry, but yeah, like that's like Andre Pollard is just not that flair guy. They need to like open up teams.
No.
He's the guy to structure the offense, puts guys where they need to be, and then puts the boot to the ball, and that ball goes where it needs to go.
Yep.
Right? They need they need someone to like create space to attack. They need some flair.
Yeah.
Like I would put him, George Ford, Johnny Sexton, Dan Baker. Like those are all like the same type of 10 kind of thing.
Yeah, the conductors.
Yeah.
Yeah, the quarterbacks, right? They sit there directing traffic.
A Damian McKenzie would like in that team. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Imagine that Damian McKenzie or even a Bowden Barrett. Like,
well, they've got that guy. He's just injured. Like, I wouldn't be worried if I was South Africa. They've got the guy. They've got 10s who'll break that line. And, Willem's is that guy as well. Yeah. He just needs to practice his kicking a bit.
And they had their Willie LaRue, so they weren't going to lose. You just wait till they get that really.
Wait till Willie LaRue gets you. You're going to be sorry you did anything.
To be fair, he
was very good as well. He did a pretty good crossfield kick.
Yeah, he did. He's a good playmaker.
Yeah, I love him. But yeah, they're just so funny, aren't they? The Bulls. Like, wait till Willie gets back. You'll be sorry then.
Wait till Willie.
We'll beat you, Scarlett, when Willie is back. Yeah. They're probably not wrong. It's just like, how reliant are you on this like 80-year-old man?
Yeah, he's a good creator.
Yeah.
When he's on the field.
And it's weird because he's not a 10, he's a fullback, but he's such a good playmaker.
It's almost like he could play 10.
Oh, he 100% could. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
Like I wonder, like if he played 10, how much like
because he's not running into space all that much, is he? He's not fast anymore. Like,
yeah, he's not the fastest guy. He's not old. Like I think he's like 31 or something like that. Yeah. I don't think he's that old because everyone thinks he's been playing forever.
He just looks a bit rough, doesn't he? These days? It's not rough, but
because he's not the fastest. He's not the biggest.
No.
But he's like, well, how old is he here?
Willie LaRue.
Oh, he's up there actually.
Oh, is he?
He's born in 19...
35. He's 35. Yeah.
So he's got some miles on the clock.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Look at him go. Look at Willie LaRue.
6'1", 198 pounds.
He's the perfect rugby player.
He's the perfect...
when he plays.
In league, he'd be great.
Yeah, he would actually. He's a good size for league.
Yeah, he is perfect size for league there.
But
yeah,
that's the weekend of rugby.
That is the weekend of rugby. You want to look at next week's games here?
Sure.
If you want to look at next week's games...
Yeah.
And we'll try to make some calls here.
Fuck.
Because
it's hard now. We should acknowledge the southern hemisphere's. It's a bad day to be from the north half of the planet, isn't it? I don't actually care about that, but
yeah,
it sucks to be
the Revenge of the South.
Revenge of the South.
They
episode
really
3.
put everyone in their place.
They did. They shut us down.
They came up here and they
and they were all relatively evenly matched contests as well, weren't they? You know, like maybe you'd think like Australia or England wasn't, but it was because they fucking won. You know.
Well, yeah, because everyone was expecting different results.
They were.
And they're like, nope, not this weekend.
Not today, my friends. Yeah. Scotland were the last hope of the North. The Allies failed to show up. Rohan didn't come on the third day.
No.
They were just stood there. Fucking no one showed up. We're alone. Last hope of the North. Then they shit the bed.
Oh, we got Friday games. Fuck. The only thing I don't like about Friday games is they're on like in the middle of the day for us.
Mm-hmm.
Ireland plays Argentina. I don't know. I don't know.
Argentina is spooky.
Yeah.
You got to watch them.
I think Ireland are going to win this game.
I do.
I think that they got their cobwebs out from this New Zealand game.
Yeah, they learned some lessons as well.
I would not be surprised if Argentina win this game.
I always remember 2015 World Cup, Argentina really put Ireland to the sword, and if Ireland get a bit loose in this game, Argentina will punish them. But this isn't the same Argentina either. They can play an all-court game now. I think Ireland's bench, if used wisely, wins this game. I think it'd be a bit back and forth, and I think Ireland will physically... If Ireland can maintain possession like they're good at...
Was it in 2015 that...
Yeah, I think so. Where they got knocked out by Argentina.
I didn't even know Ireland was a rugby team. I watched the World Cup, but I didn't really pay attention to Ireland.
Oh, it was a good game as well. Argentina were just really turned on the style.
Because that was the first World Cup I ever watched, but I wasn't really into Ireland.
Yeah.
I was all about the All Blacks, thinking that they were like this come from behind team,
The underdogs.
the
The
underdogs.
small island no one's ever heard of.
4 million people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe they're going to the final because I knew
A
nothing.
story that'll make you shed a tear.
Well, I used to live there, so I was just naturally like a fan.
you
right?
just were not paying attention. Were
And
you?
I didn't know that they win everything all
Yeah,
the
Yeah,
time.
comfortably.
Comfortably, I had
Yeah.
no idea.
Yeah.
But
I think Ireland win that game.
you think Ireland win that game?
Yeah.
I think Ireland win this game by like fucking 3 points.
Yeah, I think so. It's close. But
Yeah.
I think their bench and their composure will see them through.
But
But you know what?
Argentina can do 100%.
They could win. I'm
100%.
just calling it because I have to. I have no fucking
If
idea.
Argentina beat Ireland,
Yeah.
it's going to be like a blowout. It'll be like an embarrassing win. That's what I'm calling.
Okay.
Ireland win by a very short margin. Argentina, if they manage to win, it's going to be like they just keep scoring tries
Yeah,
and
they're
getting
good at
through
that. They're
and
good
doing
at that.
shit like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hong Kong, Brazil.
Well, you know my feelings about the Brazilian rugby team. I know nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably Brazil. No,
Oh.
Hong Kong are good.
Oh, Japan play Uruguay. I kind of want to watch that game.
I'm annoyed with Japan. Like, sort your shit out. You've got all the help you need. Yeah.
Fuck Eddie Jones.
Yeah.
Scotland are going to play Portugal. I'm pretty sure Portugal will lose this game.
No, they'll lose.
Canada's playing Romania. Didn't Romania just have a big win?
Canada beat Romania in the summer, actually.
Yeah, but didn't Romania just beat someone?
Maybe they're not
I
bad.
thought Romania had a.
Why are you asking me niche rugby questions?
Hold on.
I'm here for
I
a good
thought they
time.
had like a big win not too long ago.
Probably.
I don't.
Did they
see
beat
it.
Wales at home?
No, it was like some kind of. Oh, they played the All Blacks. No, that was Georgia, wasn't it?
Stop derailing me. I have no idea what you're
Fuck,
talking
I can't
about.
remember. Anyways, yeah. Canada plays Romania. Romania's going to beat Canada. USA plays Tonga.
Oh.
I think Tonga will.
Well, USA could step up a bit. Maybe it's time. Show us what you can do.
Or was it Romania beat Tonga last weekend? I don't know. England, South Africa.
This
Here
would
we
be a
go.
good one.
Here we go.
You
This
know
is
what?
Saturday's match at 10.
You know what?
At 10:40 in the morning.
Okay, that'll be fun. Good
Yeah.
time for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think England are good at bouncing back. That'll be a good game. That's all. I don't know. I think South Africa win, but
I think England's going to really. I think we're going to see the exact same English shit. Exactly the same English shit. They're going to come out hard.
yeah,
They're going to play hard for about 60 minutes, 65 minutes, and then
fade
fade.
when George Ford comes on as he gets booed by his own fans. The poor guy.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah,
It's going to look like England are going to be fucking winning.
yeah,
The English crowd are going to have their shirts off and just cheering, pouring beer all over their chests, be like,
Yeah.
we fucking won the World Cup, and then they're going to fade out.
yeah.
Yeah. And then France, New Zealand, I have fucking no idea. I have no idea about what this French team
Exactly what I'm thinking.
is going to be. I have no idea.
Exactly what I'm thinking. I just don't know where France are at.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm going to say New Zealand win this game.
Their momentum is with them now.
I really thought, I think like only months ago, I was like, New Zealand is going to have a rude awakening when they come to the North.
No, no, they're fast asleep.
I was so fucking wrong.
Yeah, we were so wrong, weren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about France. I don't know what they're going to come with.
I don't know. I can't call it because I just haven't seen France play comparable opposition in a while. I think France are very good.
They're going to put all their A guys out for this one,
100%.
but those guys haven't played with each other for a long time.
Not in a French jersey,
And
no.
New Zealand are like they're vibing with each other.
I think New Zealand have the momentum. I think they've come off the back of the Rugby Championship. They've been playing good opposition. They've learned some lessons. They found their guys. France have been playing teams who aren't up to their standard, right? Maybe that false sense of confidence gives them a bit of go forward, but I don't know.
Like they have the talent.
They do. And Dupont was playing very well against Japan as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I can't. I couldn't call this game
No.
right now with evidence though. If I'm going to say evidence based, New
Yeah.
Zealand win this game.
Yeah, I think so.
They've proven they're just increasingly getting better.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm going to say New Zealand beat them by about like 10 points.
I think so.
Kind of slice up that defense.
Yeah.
And then on Sunday, Italy plays Georgia. Oh, this is going to be a tight game. This is the game you got to watch.
I actually do want. I would like Georgia to win. I want to see them kick on.
Oh, I want Georgia to win so bad.
I've got a bit of a. I'm projecting my hate onto Italy.
Georgia want to win too because they know that like they feel like Italy's like the gatekeeper keeping them out of the Six Nations.
Yeah,
right?
as if they had any hope of joining the Six Nations.
Right. So Georgia, like,
this is a game they know they have to win if they want to be taken seriously. So they're gonna be so up for this.
Yeah, they're gonna be up for this, and Italy have to fight.
Similarly, right? Italy are like they're coming for our bloody spot here, guys. In spirit at least.
Yeah.
So
they're never actually gonna take. No
one's letting Georgia into the Six Nations.
Ooh.
But, yeah.
And then at 9 a.m. For us, Wales, Australia.
I think Australia win. I can't. Based on evidence, man.
Based on evidence.
You know what I mean? Like if we're being logical about it, Australia played a hell of a game against England. Yeah, we'll respond, but we've lost to Australia 3 times now, succession, after we absolutely hammered them in the World Cup as well.
Australia's kind of like Wales' like bogey team too.
Yeah,
they have a history of losing to them
and really close games. But both teams are different,
especially
now.
In Cardiff too.
Yeah.
So
we got their number briefly between sort of 2015 to 2020-ish. Like we beat them several times, but it's back to old ways now. Australia look like the attacking team I remember, and we just do not look. Every team has a thing, right? Australia's is they're quick and they're fast and they're attacky. What Ireland have their possession. Wales used to be dogged, right? You had to beat us over 85 minutes. Like you had to like fucking kick the barn door down if you want to beat us. We've lost that, so I don't even know what our thing is right now.
Yeah, the Jam Slam is that vibe, the Jam Slam.
Well, that was different though because that was Pivac. What I'm talking about is Gatland and Sean Edwards, that blueprint.
Yeah, but you had that. They still were that like grindy team.
We were grindy. And then I think Wayne Pivac tried to introduce this flair to us, the Wales of the 70s. And if you actually look at Pivac's results, we scored more tries under Pivac than we ever have. So Wales weirdly have the records for the least and most tries scored in the Six Nations, one under Gatland, one under Pivac. When Gatland came back, he tried to reintroduce, toughness, but it hasn't happened. So now we've lost our identity. But Australia have an identity now, and it's their same one. I think Australia win this game,
I think Wales win this game. I think Wales win this game, and I think
fucking week.
Everyone's got hope in Australia, and then and Wales are going to come out of nowhere and knock them back down.
I haven't got the energy to believe
it's happening. They're gonna. I think a lot of players are going to step up for this game.
Yeah,
I feel this is the. I'm having a feeling.
Yeah. If
you guys have some money to place on bets, put it on Wales.
Yeah.
But don't. This is not advice. You have to do it on your own.
Hey, do you know what? If you'd have put, I was reading this thing. If you'd have put £1 on, or $1 or whatever, on all the Southern Hemisphere teams winning, of the Tier 1 nations or whatever, you'd have won, I think, 1,000. So if you'd have put $10 on all the Southern Hemisphere teams winning, you'd have won 10 grand. Tempting, isn't it? $10, what you got to lose?
You can't lose. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
And if they do lose, at least one of our guys wins.
Yeah, I think Wales are going to win this game.
Okay. Yeah.
I have faith in my team, Wales.
Good for you, man.
I'm Welsh till I die.
Yeah, I can see that. Good for you.
All right, friends. You can catch us on the internet. You can find us on YouTube. You can still find us on X. I haven't taken us down from X yet.
Okay.
I was posted on X trolling a dude that thought my joke about the red card naval flag was serious.
He thought actually it's the bunker abuse. Yeah, we know. We know.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. We watch rugby every now and again.
Yeah.
Like
me asking what naval flag this is wasn't a giver, but like and share the podcast if you like what we're doing. Give us a little rating. Give us some stars.
Send us an email with some questions. Remember we used to do that?
I haven't checked the email, actually. I should check it.
Shit, okay, we'll promise to check the email.
Levi will get your emails.
Yeah, Levi, email us again. We promise we'll respond.
All right, have a good one, folks.
Bye.